Hi, everybody. Welcome to the second episode of The Dish. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second episode of The Dish. We have a very important topic to talk about this evening. As you know, we have flooding issues in Flagler County, like the group Flooded in Flagler that I have on Facebook. And I have found another group of people that are having the same issue over on the beach side in our county. And just like all of you came and joined the group and got the attention, and we're getting swell maintenance and all that stuff now, we need to come to the rescue of Bulow Creek. So today I have the Hathaways with me. I have Caleb and I have Elizabeth, and I want to introduce Caleb to you. He actually is one of the younger generation. I have a younger son, so I kind of feel I'm real proud of you, so I know your mom is. It's really hard these days to find children, no offense, that young people that are involved in our community, especially in the conservation of our community. So I want to know, and I know everybody watching would love to know, what got you involved in this to begin with?
Yeah, I mean, you're totally correct. People, unfortunately, my generation is involved in things. And I think what's important is I actually can see from their perspective why people don't get interested into these things that matter. You know, there's a lot of distractions we have, nowadays. And when I was, a bit younger, a few years younger, I used to think that, just I didn't care about this stuff. But within the past few years, I've started to kind of mature and understand it and get involved. And I've seen that, the decisions, the big thing about my club that I created, Forever Flagler, is the decisions being made nowadays in our, present age is going to impact our future. In the next 20, 30, 40 years, we're going to live with all these impacts that are, happening.
And some of us won't be here.
Exactly. A lot of people on those boards probably also won't be there.
Right.
That's just how these things are. So these decisions are directly impacting us. So from my perspective, my hope is that I can get more people involved into this stuff, and try to draw attention to these concerns, because what we're seeing in our county right now is monumental. It's a transition phase.
We are going through a transitionary phase. It reminds me a lot of the movie Avatar.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, but it really does. And people don't know they need to come out now and talk out and speak out now. Fill the city county room, fill the county room, and go to the meetings, write the letters, make the phone calls. If you can't make every meeting, just make one, make the important ones, because it really does make change. I mean, I know with Flooded in Flagler, we started filling the city council rooms. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the meetings would go for hours because everybody wanted to have their 3 minutes. And that's kind of how this podcast room came about. Actually, 3 minutes isn't really enough. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're talking about this today. Because I believe Bulow Creek is beautiful, and Flagler has changed so much since I've moved here. And I've just been here only 10 years, vacation 10 years before that. So I've seen it change so much. And I know there's progress and growth needs to come, but there's a way to smartly grow and considerately grow for the conservation of the community. So I know a lot of people know you. I just want to give you a plug. I know you play football. I know you wrote a book. So tell us a little bit about that too, and then we'll go back to the Bulow Creek, because I don't want to forget about that.
Well, the book is important in getting me involved, because when I started getting into nature, I started fishing. I've always wanted to write, and I started getting into the history of our county. That's when I really, realized that we have something here. So the book I made when I was 16 took a few months. It's a historical fiction, kind of an action adventure of the area. And eventually, after a long editing process, I got it out. But what's important about that is that really kind of showed me the history of here and how I treasured it, because unfortunately, a lot of people don't see what we have here. Is it's pretty, it's unique, it's special, and should be protected.
That's why we moved here.
Exactly, and it's why. And so I've treasured that, and the book has helped me kind of learn with it. And of course, that was like 2 years ago. So now I'm working on another book. We're trying to get it out, and that one is coming along. And I'm trying to spread the history through a creative storytelling, because I do like I'm into film, so I do like creating, crafting stories.
That's good though, because it reaches to people your age, and that's the whole thing about today. you can talk on my podcast today and other people are going to watch it, and the younger generation is maybe going to listen to you. You may even get some more members in your group from high school. Yeah. You may have some more people your age show up at the meeting, and everybody doesn't have to talk at the meeting, just to show you support and have, I call it butts in seats. Fill the seats, fill the room.
Well, yeah, the presence you're saying is important. People don't have to even speak; they can just show up, and that presence there shows that someone's attention. They're watching them, and that puts pressure on our government because that's who they're representing. And when someone comes there and they're looking at this and they see this meeting and these discussions and they don't agree with it, well, that representative, that commissioner, that city attorney, they have to make decisions that should reflect us. And if you don't attend the meetings, I'm not, obviously I'm not kind of critical, but when we don't attend the meetings, we don't necessarily understand it. And they don't understand us. And there's a miscommunication. And what we end up having is that these decisions are made and people don't understand it. People don't know what happened. People feel underrepresented. They didn't speak. And it kind of just moves along. And that's what we've seen again and again.
Over and over and over. And I don't know if it's because of malfeasance or if it's because of ignorance. Or
it's a bit of both.
I've seen things that are approved on my street, Ponce de Leon and Point Pleasant, for example. The mound the houses are on has to be at least 4 feet high. Mm-hmm. So they lied and told us, we're using the plane of the road now to measure the floor of the house. What road are they using? The new road they built in the middle of it? That has to be that's not. Yeah. They're not taking the whole plane of the whole community into account when they're doing all these things. So I just want to let everybody know at the end, we're going to have a video that you made, and we had to shorten it a little bit. But it's a beautiful video of the area that we're talking about now. So it's Veranda Bay. Yeah. They're trying to get more houses than they bought the land for. We call that density changes or rezoning. So I'm going to let you explain to everybody exactly where it is in Palm Coast and whatever else you'd like to say about that.
Well, I'll let my mom actually explain.
Yes, Elizabeth, please. This is the proud mom, Elizabeth, over here. Go ahead and fill us in on those details.
Yeah, so I'm with Preserve Flagler Beach and Bulow Creek. We're an organization that formed back in 2019 when this all started. Back then it was called The Gardens. They've then switched to Veranda Bay. But originally, the developer was trying to get close to 4,000 units. Which they were shut down by the county in October of 2019. And then fast forward, once they got approved for the original density, which was 453 units, they went ahead and went with that project. So they got it underway. They were able to finally start their development. Again, it took years. Obviously, COVID came in and kind of shut things down for a little while. Mm-hmm. But with the 453 units that they were allowed, they've only started building 335 units on the east side of John Anderson. So this property is located just south of 100 on John Anderson Highway on both the east and the west side.
And it's kind of behind the Publix shopping center there, right?
Well, it's actually on the other side. So Publix is on the north side of 100. So this is on the south side of 100.
Okay, so this is over there on the CVS side.
Yes,
that way.
So right behind CVS. So, the south side, and actually on the west side is where right now there's not been any development. And so on that side is what right now we're the most concerned about, is because that's where Bulow Creek is located. So the headwaters of Bulow Creek start, and the property that is going to be developed, or they're trying to get developed, kind of just wraps around the whole headwaters of Bulow Creek. So that's where our concern is with now the developer coming back and through the process, because right now, again, they're only allowed to build 453 units under the current code under Flagler County, because they're unincorporated Flagler County. So right now what they're trying to do is go to the city of Flagler Beach, and through the process of annexation, they're trying to change and rezone to allow for 2735 units from the 453. So that's where we have a big problem, and that's what we've been trying to put a stop to, hold them to the 453 units that they were allowed. Right. And, they're just kind of trying to, it seems like going through a back door of getting around.
They always find a way to get around to it. It seems like every single time they get yes. You never hear no.
Yeah. I think the big controversy about is they're saying, well, if the city of Flagler Beach doesn't annex them, then the city of Palm Coast will annex them. And so then you open a whole different door of possibilities
Well, the
as
city
far
of
as
Palm
density
Coast-
and height and
Yeah.
all that, because they have a different height restriction versus the city of Flagler Beach.
Flagler Beach seems like they've built a lot smarter than the city has as far as
Yeah,
the
they have
infill lots
stricter
and stuff like that.
regulations.
One thing that I have
But,
to
yeah,
mention, what we're
yeah.
gonna say is, so yeah, this is that's the big topic, is that this proposal that the developer has given, the 2,735 homes, stems off the basis that, oh, if Flagler Beach doesn't accept this, then I'll just move to Palm Coast. Me and my mom and our group have always been kind of working on this and examining this, and for the past 5 years since the original fight happened with the gardens, and the commissioners eventually ruled that keep it to that, he never wants to go to Palm Coast. And if Palm Coast would have allowed everything, to be the way it is, then why didn't he go there? Well, we know there's a lot of factors that go into that. Palm Coast right now has a new council, members that were elected. We know Palm Coast, the atmosphere shifted. People have started to realize that they don't want this.
We have a new mayor too.
Then there's a new mayor.
And the new mayor is totally anti-overdevelopment.
And yeah, this would be just a massive expansion. I mean, yeah.
And
Palm
there's
Coast,
the water and sewer issue. They have
Right,
to be
we
able
have
to
the
provide
mandate.
water and sewer, which Palm Coast cannot.
We
So-
cannot. We're
So-
under a mandate under the state right now until
Yeah.
they re-update the plan,
Yeah.
and that's not even started yet.
Yeah. So when it comes to this, it's. I mean, I'm gonna say for what it is. It's a scare tactic, because they're trying to get Flagler Beach to accept whatever the number they want, and that's just flat out is an excuse to try to get that bait into the trap, and and they can say that they'll get it anyways. And so the idea is that the developer wants to just kind of say this is going to happen no matter what. Reality is. So in this annexation, which is incorporating that land into the Flagler Beach city, pretty much the commissioners have all to say. There's 5 commissioners on the board of Flagler Beach City Commissioners, and they have everything that they vote yes, they'll incorporate it into them, and they'll give it a number. If they vote no, they'll reject that number. They could also table it, which would also be good because it'll keep the negotiations going. Though another thing that also might end up happening with this discussion, which is unfortunate, is that the developer, it's a very complex issue, and the developer may come back at it and be like, hey, I'll get 2,000 homes. It's not as bad as 2,700 homes, but one thing that we have to be, as a community alert, and everyone has to understand, is that that's kind of it's a ploy to subvert the amount of units. So he's trying to just get as much units as possible.
Right. It's like a poker game, back and forth,
Exactly.
back and forth. Back and
So
forth.
so then that original number 453, which is why we've been saying it over and over again, is that's what we thought was going to be built there. That's what it was going to be zoned for. That's what it was zoned for back in 2020. That's what they started building. That's what they bought the land under.
Right.
Everything has been under that number. That's what we know. Now they want to dramatically change that, and even going from 453 to 1,500 is an immeasurable increase. And the amount of destruction it'll do to the land is it's almost, I mean, it is devastating. And that land, what we were saying of Beulah Creek, where it is pristine Florida. As you know, in history, it is a creek that holds a lot of wealth. From being back in the 1800s when there was a plantation on there, the Seminoles used to use it as a vital location, and during this time it's a great fishing location. The amount of wildlife there is incredible. There's even possible panthers that might
Have
be
we
there.
thought about ever making it a historical location?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
Beulah-
actually, yes.
So
Has that-
what's important to
Yeah.
also know is that west of Beulah Creek, not east of it, west of it is already in conservation. So they're trying to build on the eastern land. And so what's kind of weird is, why would we let them destroy that land when we could create a park and protect the whole location?
Make it a historical park.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and it's keeping the corridor a nice.
Yeah, because
Preservation
north
for-
of State Road
for
100,
the-
where the pedestrian bridge is, north of that is where Graham Swamp is. So when you go from Graham Swamp and you go south, you have a large corridor. When you build on that, you begin to disrupt that
You do.
significantly. We're talking not just animals, we're also talking the flood control. Graham Swamp feeds a lot of water into Beulah Creek. There's culverts under 100, if you can ever see that, and it goes into Beulah Creek. It's a part of the natural drain field. You build 2,700 homes onto that land.
It's like a cork.
And that's not
Well,
mentioning all the commercial that's also
the commercial
in
as
this
well that's going into it.
project.
So that entire creek, that entire location, a natural location that's been there for centuries, that's been, Mother Nature always has a way, and that was the way that was created. You're disrupting that. And this isn't the 1900s when we don't know anything. This is
Yeah, we know better than to be doing
This is
that.
the 21st century, exactly. We know what implications this is. But unfortunately, it seems in this situation, it's an economic motivation solely.
It is.
And they'll defend it as financial feasibility, that's going to bring growth to Flagler Beach, that it's the only way necessary. But as as a younger generation, we're going to be dealing with these consequences. And it's just a shame because I know so many people that, like you guys, have seen it happen and that continue to say, hey, this is not a great, practice. So why is it still on the table? Why are we still dealing with it? Why are we still having to deal with these issues, and why are we not waking up?
Because they're all greedy. I mean, I just really think it all comes down to money. And you have these big developer attorneys that defend these developers or try to twist things to get what they want. They don't even live here. Their family doesn't even live here.
Yeah.
And they really don't care what happens after the fact. They just care about winning and getting what the developer wants. And I don't see why the developers can't sit down with members of the community like you, and like other people of other groups, because to me, this is the same problem. Okay. When you put concrete and asphalt where grass and dirt and trees once were, the water has to go somewhere, and it's going to go to all the lower properties. And we're already seeing it over in the city side. And I don't want to see it over in the county side. And that's why I wanted you guys to come here, because I wanted to get it's the December 12th meeting.
Yeah, 5:30.
At 5:30.
Flagler
And
Beach
it's
City Hall.
Flagler Beach City Hall, everybody. So that's kind of down right in the middle, kind of by the pier. You'll have to find parking and walk. It's very, it's marked really good so you can see it. Next to Veterans Park. It's right there. You can see it. We need everybody to show up there. I'm definitely going to be there. I know you guys are going to both be there. And I know some of my people from Flooded and Flagler will be there, because I know that this group will support us, because we're kind of all in the same boat here. We're in the same boat, and now we have a paddle. So let's get the other paddle so we can paddle our city out of here, our county out of here, and really keep the beauty that we all moved here for. Really. We really did. So we have a video at the end. We're going to go out trying some fudge that I brought in today for everybody to try. And we're going to go out with the video that was made. That is a brilliant video. Please share this video to your pages. We all have different pockets of friends in town. And that's the only way we're going to get this message across and get everybody involved and get this to stop right now. If we can stop this one thing, we can move on to the next thing and stop that too. We've already done it once, and we can do it again. Thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Besides being involved in the community, everybody knows I like to bake. I like to make people happy. So everybody has some fudge. So this fudge is my grandmother's recipe, which was her grandmother's recipe. And it is about a 120-year-old fudge recipe. It only has 5 ingredients in it, but you have to cook it like candy. So go ahead and try it. I'm always proud of this. I always bring this to work. I give it as gifts at Christmas parties. Wow.
Wow.
And it's my absolute favorite fudge. And my grandma's no longer with us, so I carry on the tradition of making this every year. My son's like, "You're not bringing all that, are you? You're not taking it all." So no, I had to leave some at home. But I do make this also out of my business, which is Sugar Shakers. And the end is a Z, not an S. You can find it on my page, Kandi Stevens. You can find me on the dish. Or you can just send me an email, sugarshakers@gmail.com. Thank you for watching today. This is a very important issue, and I hope everybody joins us and joining with the Hathaways and the groups that they're involved in, and we all merge together to help our city.